res people and do heals and things like that. So it just took a long time because of that, because when we did get the rare opportunity to wail on him, we were doing some pretty good damage. It was a challenging fight, and I think on that topic, I liked that. It was hard, but I almost loved having that kind of raid boss spike experience at level 5. I think that's really cool, and if they keep that going through the whole game, which I experienced something like that at almost every single stage of the game, and I think that is really, really cool. I love that design philosophy. So
I was disappointed the Shadow Behemoth wasn't like that. The Shadow Behemoth had some scaling problems in the opposite direction. It was just way too easy.
Yeah, I encountered him like probably three-quarter, or he had probably only like a quarter to a third of his health gone. Probably 20 people there just sitting at range shooting at him, and like I didn't take any damage. Like I was the one person up front, like in his face, and didn't take any damage.
So, who was there for the Black Moa?
I was.
Me
it was
too.
insane. I fought
We
the
have
first
video
one
footage.
and got
Yeah, we
blown
did.
up.
I'm gonna stream that real quick.
That
Yeah, why don't you
footage
play
is
that?
brought to you courtesy of me.
There you go. You heard it first here. So,
oh, yeah.
when did that actually occur? Because the last 4 hours of Beta Weekend event, I was playing some PvP and it was just kind of annoying me because nobody was on. So I kind of just stopped. But when did this actually happen?
2 a.m. EST.
Yeah, it started an hour before the end of the beta.
And where was this at? Was this everywhere, or was this only in a certain area?
It was
It was
every
only in a-
server. Every server.
It was every
at,
server except...
What was that name?
It was outside of Holbrook. It was Wayfair Foothills.
Yeah.
So the northern area, right?
Yes.
Was it actually killable, or...?
Yeah, we took down tons and tons of them.
Okay, so
It
it
was
was more
just
than
that-
one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you would kill a black moa, and then more or less 2 more would take its place.
In Arena, it's
Black
kind
Moa-
of always
Black Moas
been doing
are
those
known
kind of
for
things
being
where people like and whatnot, you know.
hard.
Up the first Guild Wars doing the banning thing where the Doom comes up, slashes the guy.
I would have really rather had, everyone be dead at the end of it. Where they would have just
Yeah.
disabled reviving and said, if you die, you die. This is the end of the beta.
That would've been
And
pretty
That's
had it,
actually
like,
fun to see.
that would have been really awesome, I
Who's the
think,
last
and just had,
person
like,
alive?
at the end of the day, have, like, tons and tons of moas just blow up all at once. It'd be awesome.
Well, they should
Exploding
be everywhere
chickens.
on the server, so people even not there will get killed. And if you get killed, you're out of the server. Wouldn't that have been neat?
That would have been
I mean, they can just like hit the button and just spam the button, spam it everywhere. Just Black Moas everywhere.
Black moa button. We're going to have to make that.
That would have crashed so many people.
That's okay.
Oh, and they're out.
I mean, really, in the end, the finale was just a final stress test for them to see
Yeah.
how many
Oh,
people
yeah.
you could cram
Oh,
together
yeah.
in one place.
I had to turn
And how
my
many
settings all the way
black
down.
Really, I
you
kept
think
mine
that
up the entire time.
I kept mine at
That's
medium, and it didn't seem to hinder me at all, especially after updating my drivers for my video.
I
card.
noticed that on performance, I noticed no difference at all between I ran the game at 1080p highest settings possible. I ran the game at 800 by 600 lowest settings possible, same frame rate no matter what.
Really?
It was, yeah.
Was
no
it bad
difference
frame rate or
whatsoever.
good frame rate?
It was that same kind of, whenever I was in a populated area, it would lag like 20 frames a second. Whenever I was out on my own doing my own thing, 40 to 60. It was, I think for me anyway, the players made a huge difference. The more players were there, the laggier my game got. And so in dynamic events that were huge, I was getting 15 frames a second. When I was killing one monster out in the wilds, not looking at much, I was getting 60 frames a second. It's not optimized yet, and they said that in the patch notes that there's going to be a huge dichotomy of, there's not going to, the slider is not going to make a huge difference at all. It's just going to be there. So
All right.
that's all I got to say.
So, go ahead and go on to the next one. And
Oh, well.
yeah, so road versus road events. I mean, I didn't play a whole lot of World vs. World. I played a lot more structured PvP. I wanted to kind of see how the esports was going to go for it and whatnot. For those who did play, I know that Ben did and Kellen played a lot of World vs. World. What did you guys think of it in general?
I'll let Ben take first on this one. I played some World vs. World, not nearly as much as he did.
Okay.
I more or less
This
put
has been
30
involved.
hours. Yeah. I more or less put 30 hours into World vs. World, and it just World vs. World was really taken down by the, I guess, by a lack of team chat, and I really hope they fix that by launch, because they had it fixed from what I've heard, and they had it right in the closed beta 3, and that you could only talk on team chat, and the only people who hear you were the people within that world on your team, and it worked beautifully. However, when it came to really to this past beta weekend, at first, on the first day, it would really just, you could hear other teams, and just, it was a mess. But yeah, I think it would have been a lot better with that. But overall, I think it was great. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if team chat was being heard by everyone, or, like each world, or just your world, like throughout the entire time I was in it.
It wasn't. I was definitely talking to people on other servers.
There was people saying in team chat from different worlds, and I just stayed away from team chat altogether and used local.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed to work.
The big problem was that you could hear people on other servers, but never the people that you're going against, while at the same time not everyone on your team could hear you. And then even when you're in PvE, you could still hear team chat, which shouldn't happen, I think.
Yeah. I don't know if I heard it at the start of the weekend, probably because nobody was in it, but I noticed that too, the team chat being in PvE. It was kind of annoying. And just
Do you think
a little bit.
based off the implementation, do you think it's going to be like something worthwhile?
Well, it's a good idea to have it in PvE just in case.
Oh no, I mean World vs. World in general.
Oh, the team chat.
No, just World vs. World. Do you think it was a good implementation? Do you think it's going to work? Do you think it's not just going to be a
that
another
was
blow?
fun. It was
Yeah,
fun.
I had a great time in World vs. World, and you could really
even
pull
notice
off some real tactics and like take out the supply chain first and stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't even notice the hours go by.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so fun.
I noticed that when I first tried it. I was not expecting to have a whole ton of fun in World vs. World. In fact, I mean, something to note is that I have never enjoyed PvP in an MMO until I played Guild Wars 2. I have never enjoyed it. I tried it in World of Warcraft, I tried it in Warhammer, and I kind of liked it. I mean, every MMO I've tried, PvP has been an absolute nightmare for me. I hated it because it's either gear-based, it's experience-based, it is something that requires this time sink or this commitment that I just don't have. And so I loved Guild Wars 2's PvP in general. And in World vs. World, I felt that there was just this, it was this big epic thing that, you know, would be YouTube worthy on World of Warcraft or something like that. Something that, you know, is so big and everyone's like, oh my god, this is crazy. Yet that happens every once in a while in World vs. World. These big, huge battles and this big epic feeling was all the time. I loved it. And playing an Elementalist in a World vs. World, that's all I did. I didn't even touch it with my Guardian. The Elementalist was so much fun because I figured out in these big battles, you know, it was pretty much a stalemate. You know, people were, there was a big push, then there was push back, there was big push, and there was push back. But I got a few casters together, and we all got into a group, and I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to cycle our AoEs so that we always have, even if it doesn't do any much damage, as much AoE as possible right on the front lines. And what we would do is we'd kind of do it like footsteps. We would put an AoE down. Once that one was over, then we'd put another one in front of it, and another one in front of it, and it would push the team back because they didn't know what was coming in these AoEs. Even if it was something small, they would look at this big red circle, and they'd be like, oh, I got to get out of the way, I got to go. And so what we do is we just step, steps, and we took a group of like 10 people against like 30 people, and we just cycled these things and pushed them all the way back into their keep. And I got some really cool stuff that happened throughout this whole world versus world thing, because my server sucked at world versus world. We sucked bad. We were all the way back to our main castle area that like couldn't be taken down, and we had nothing. And so what I did is I went into team or local chat or whatever, and I'm like, you guys know what to do, right? And they're like, no, we don't know what to do. You know, what do we do? And I'm like, okay, we got to take this camp, and we got to do this, and we got to do that. And I kind of took up a bit of a commander position. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew what I was doing better than these other people did. And so, like, we took a supply camp, and we took one of our keeps that wasn't being defended by the other team. And by the time, like, the 5 hours or whatever that I spent there, we were assaulting one of their main keeps and, you know, doing exactly what Ben was talking about earlier. You know, all the casters are putting stuff up on the towers to keep the trebuchets back and whatnot. We were getting siege equipment up there. And, I mean, once the team element kicks in World versus World, it's like the coolest thing. And it's so much fun. It's just when you're disorganized and when your team's just kind of sitting out there zerging the other team that's zerging you, that's not a whole ton of fun. I can see guilds are going to have a goddamn blast with World versus World. They are going to, you know, that is for those 100-man guilds that all get on Vent and divide up into squads and do all that kind of nonsense, you know. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I had a blast with World versus World when it was a team-based environment. When it was random, I thought it was bad. So
yeah, I actually got together a team of 5, and we took a keep together. It was awesome. We all chipped in our gems into gold, and then we bought not siege tanks. I'm thinking StarCraft. We chipped in and got trebuchets, catapults,
Suddenly,
and then each of us
everywhere.
each of us had a golem that we carted around, and
nice.
So we had 5 golems moving in with random people taking over the trebuchets and the catapults. And so through that, we had the catapults focusing on the invaders, and the golems just taking down the wall. So we made it through, and we took down an entire keep within probably 30 minutes, just with 5 main people there, and I'd probably say about another 5 just streaming in and out occasionally. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, like, if you have serious strategy, you can do some amazing things in World versus World.
Yeah, it's the best thing in the game, I think, that actually accentuated team-oriented combat, because when you're in PvP, like structured PvP with the randoms, you're kind of just doing your own thing. There's not a lot of time to actually talk about strategy and stuff, because those are pretty fast-paced games. And in PvE, it's pretty straightforward as to what to do. I had a few instances in PvE, like with this kind of dungeon area that I did where we really had to communicate and talk to take down these 3 bosses. But overall, World versus World was the most team-oriented, strategy-oriented stuff that I did in the whole game, and I think it was really, really cool. That my only issue, you touched on it briefly with World versus World, is that you have to use gold and money that you get, you know, like your silver and your copper and your gold to buy stuff like siege equipment. I think that is honestly kind of a little weird, because I could see some problems arising from that, where like guilds go in and are all able to buy siege golems or something like that because they have a bunch of gold, whereas this one server might not be loaded to the teeth and they can't.
Yeah, but you don't understand that if a guild does that, sure, they'll like completely own everything those 2 weeks, but you know, I mean, you'll be matched with other servers that do that. But moving on, really,
sure.
There were some downsides to World versus World, and that really killed it for a lot of people. So, like, I don't know, lag comes to mind. There were just giant lag spikes that really made the game unplayable. I assume you guys found those problems too, yeah?
Yeah, I experienced some lag spikes.
I feel that was all before, like, it started with the initial server launch. I mean, with the amount of just stress that was put on the server from the hundreds of thousands of people who were trying to log on. Like, Ben and Paul, you both played on Soros Furnace, right?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I did.
Yeah, that was the most jam-packed server. So